You could ask me what memory is, and I could give you 100 answers. Or I could tell you nothing. What is there to say anyway? Could I say it's like a large, old city with its twisted parks? I could tell you that. That's what memory is like. Or I could tell you it's a house somewhere or an apartment in an old building. You know the stairs and you think you know the door. I could tell you all of that. But it would be a lie. Memory is nothing except it calls us in. It chooses the door. And we have to follow. And then somehow it forms itself out of nothing. Just some hunger pushing it forward. And suddenly there's only light in the story that you're handing to someone who's looking at you and they're laughing or crying or maybe even they're confused. Just to see how you came up with something from nothing. It was just something you remembered, you said, and I wanted to tell you about it. Every time I do that, the story changes. It's not like these books where the story stays the same. Memory isn't like that. It isn't like an old apartment in an old house in an old city around these old twisted parks. It's just like light, like what's in front of you right now, but a little dimmer, and it keeps going back and back and back and back and back. They're just dimmer versions of the present. You can barely see them, the little patches of this or that feeling that your Aunt Margaret gave you, or the dark shadow on your mother's face. Everything changes. Memory is just back there. Distant, distant, distant. Distant stars in a dark sky. What is solid anymore but these little scenes, smells, this touches of something, and then something like hunger or desire starts to go back and back. And suddenly everything takes blossom from the dark, dark star in the distant heavens. Like this story again. I keep trying to tell you that it comes from nothing. Just stars in a vast heaven that somehow somebody put there. And you can't do anything about it ever. And don't you ever forget that either. Don't you ever forget that either.